Fans, and welcome back to Raptors Report. I am your host, Julian, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Steve, and we're here to talk Raptors because welcome back to Raptors I am very happy. Julian, sorry, I'm getting some feedback here. Report. My co-host, Steve. Apologies, technical difficulties. Anyway, we're back, and we're ready to talk Toronto Raptors, even though, they haven't been looking very good, have they, Steve?
No, I mean, game one, I was on top of the mountain, and the last three have been quite rough. Yeah.
Yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks game wasn't that bad. It was a good game until it wasn't. Like the fourth quarter, they just kind of fell apart, and Giannis is Giannis, and you know how it is. It was a close loss. The other two were pretty dismal. The Mavericks game was one can of worms. The Spurs game was another. And this past one left a bitter taste in my mouth, except for one guy. There was one guy who really saved the day and made that game worth watching. And we're going to be discussing him on the podcast today. And we'll be discussing pretty much everything regarding the team. So the defensive issues that the Raptors have been facing, the injury problems that the Raptors are facing, the shooting problems that the Raptors are facing. So we'll start on a good note, and we will talk about Colin Murray-Boyles, who burst onto the scene. Maybe not in his first game against the Mavericks, where he was 0 for, but last night against Wemby, where he pretty much battled Wemby
he took it at him.
Yeah.
He took it at him right into his chest, everything. He was completely opposite of every other guy on the roster. He was not afraid of Wemby, and he went right at him, and it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He plays like a vet. It is so refreshing to watch a guy who really just kind of understands the game at a fundamental level and is able to read plays as they happen and has all these little tricks. It almost seems like he's a 10-year vet out there, but he is a rookie. There was one moment, I didn't clip it, but there was a moment when he could have been a bit more savvy. He was trying to draw a charge, I believe, or he was standing up and a player on the Spurs ran into him. I think it was Castle, but it might've been somebody else. And they called the foul on him. And I was like, oh, bro, you got to flop there.
Yeah,
you got to fall over, because in the NBA, refs do not call charges unless you fall over. So he will learn the dark arts soon enough. But yeah, do you have any kind of grander thoughts about CMB before we jump into the highlights here?
I mean, we're just gonna pretend like that first game didn't happen. That was he's getting his toes wet. It's okay, whatever. But last night was it was the silver lining. He was just ready to play. I think he scored his first 11 or so points in 9 minutes, just like an injection of offense that I don't think you typically expect from him. You expect an immediate injection of defense, which obviously the team needs, but that offensive spark was pretty nice to see.
Yeah, no doubt. I was getting chills. I was definitely getting some goosebumps watching him sort of dominate. I mean, he's the new shiny toy.
Yeah.
He is the fun sort of he's got a lot of things going for him. So without any further ado, I think we should get to the highlight package that I've put together here. So we're going to start with the defensive highlights, and I have them running at 50% speed. So there's a couple plays here against Wemby. The first one is where he gets that clean strip off of him. Wemby comes along the sideline, he squares up, and he starts dribbling. He's dancing with the ball, and no sir. CMB just knocks it out of his hands. We'll watch that again. So what was refreshing about this play was that Wemby was dancing on Purtle. He had the ball on a string and was inside out dribbles, all sorts of fancy ball handling. And Purtle's foot speed was just not up to the task. I mean, he's already injured, and I don't think you could guard him on the perimeter anyway, even if he was healthy. But Yeah, so this was like when I kind of sat up in my seat, seeing CMB just strip him cleanly, just grab the cookie out of the cookie jar, just knock it away. And it led to a fast break dunk. So, and here's the next play. So this is the one where Wemby turns it over. It wasn't credited as a steal to CMB, but Wemby caught it on the opposite side of the floor and had his back to the basket. And CMB pokes it loose, and then it goes off of, it might have just been, yeah, I think he pokes it loose. Yeah. And Wemby loses it out of bounds, and he's looking at the refs because it probably should have been called off on CMB because he knocked it out, but it wasn't. It was called off on Wemby. And yeah, he lost it, but he wasn't credited for a steal there. I just remember it happening.
Mm-hmm.
This one was pretty impressive where CMB picks up Wemby full court. It was clipped a couple of times on Twitter and all sorts of other places. Wemby does have a great handle on the ball, and he does kind of get CMB with a crossover, but CMB recovers and then stands him up. He stands him up going into the paint, and he has to force it back out. And this wasn't one of those ticky-tack calls where there was body-to-body contact between Jacoby Walter and I believe, that's Castle.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it as a foul on Jacoby Walter. It's like, give me a break. These refs were just bailing out the Spurs.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have lost the game anyway, but it's so frustrating. It's like, when the refs are, you're already down. They don't need to help them by making up calls.
Like I expected it from Castle because he's always been an incredible foul drawer. So I expected him to get like 9 or 10 free throws, and he got that pretty easily. But the all over ticky tack stuff was just so annoying to watch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was a frustrating game, and it's at home. They're playing against like a marquee team just because of who Wemby is, and the Raptors are some rinky-dink Eastern Conference team from Canada. So, we're going to get the short end of the stick. Anyway, next play. This was one that I believe it was Ochai. No, this is this is just a clean strip from I'm thinking the other one, but yeah. Vassell, I believe, drives past Ingram, and CMB is waiting in the paint and just reaches in and rips the ball out. So just a clean steal. And Grady can't handle the pass. Like, God, Grady was horrible last night. This is the one I'm thinking of here. Sorry. Yeah, we can talk about Grady's struggles as well, but maybe we'll focus on CMB right now because, get those endorphins flowing. I don't want to think about Grady Dick right now.
We need the bright side right now.
Exactly. So this one was created by Abaji at first. So Abaji does a good job coming around the screen, and it was kind of bobbled by Champagny, and then CMB just rips it away and creates a clean fast break. This one is a block, and he was one of the only people who was able to sort of stop Castle from getting to the rim. So he picks up Castle. He's the primary defender on Castle. Castle gets a step on him, but Scotty and him recover, and then CMB blocks him from behind, and it's off to the races. So the defense is for real. The guy looks unbelievable on that end of the court. 3 steals, 1 block last night. This is what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I expected CMB to be that defensive anchor, the guy who could, rip balls away from people, grab the ball out of the air, block shots, body up. Like his stoutness was causing problems for Wemby when he was trying to drive on him. He just goes chest to chest, and Wemby is like an amazing physical specimen, but he probably weighs a similar amount to CMB just because of, how thick CMB is. So yeah, he has a lot of good things going for him. Let's get to the offensive highlights. It's pretty much just his made shots. So we'll look at these at 50% speed here. There's a couple of things, process things here as well. It's not just scoring. So he's able to pass it out. He passes it out to Ingram with a nice bounce pass, resets the screen, and then slips to the hoop and is able to use his great touch to score around Bismack Biyombo. Biyombo, obviously good rim protector. This is another one. He sets a little excuse me screen and then catches a very nice pass from Jamal Shed, who is a very pinpoint accurate passer. This is a good one here. So Sandro, as we well know, is a good playmaker, and he has a guard on a switch, and he drives it into the paint. They have to help out, and CMB is on the perimeter to knock down the three-point shot. This happened a couple of times. So here, CMB kind of bobbles the ball to Ingram. Ingram passes it back inside, and he is able to fake out the rim protector and get a dunk. This is another great setup by Shed, although Shed throws it too high for the alley-oop. If you remember the alley-oop pass from last night, he throws it up way too high. And CMB is not that kind of athlete, but he's able, this is such a fantastic move, is that he gets his fingertips on the ball and then uses the glass and aims it in. Like that's such an alert move to make. And there's Sandro again, posting up against a smaller player. Wemby has to help, passes it back out to CMB, who cans the three. The last one is also a three. Wemby is playing in the paint as he probably, he's trying to help out against Ingram. Ingram passes it back out to CMB, who again knocks down the triple. Man, this was, a masterclass.
Yeah.
It was one of the most exciting rookie performances that I've seen.
It's the best since Scotty's his third game or something, where he had like
against the Celtics.
Yeah, he put up like 30 or something against the Celtics. It was a good game regardless. I'd say it's best since then, and it was everything you want and more on both sides. He showed his impeccable timing with like the way he is perfectly timing to steal on Wemby on that dribble. Like he's patient and he's calm and he's strong and he's like just a menace. So fantastic.
Oh yeah, he was so good. 19 points on 13 shots, 3 of 5 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers. Yeah, he packed up the stat sheet. It was such an amazing performance. And really, like, we needed that as fans. We really, really needed something to hang your hat on, something to make it not as depressing. And maybe that's how we can segue into talking about the Toronto Raptors record, because while it feels bad right now, I don't think that this is like wholly unexpected. I think that most people, if you have been watching our podcast regularly, you'll know that we kind of looked at the first 10 games of the season, and we have we basically said that the Toronto Raptors would be 3-7, I believe was what I said. I think you said something similar, maybe 4-6. It's looking more like a 3-7 right now. So maybe we shouldn't be getting too bent out of shape.
Yeah.
But obviously when you're in the here and now and you're watching the games and you're looking at the record, it's hard to ignore. It's hard not to feel bad, even if you were kind of expecting it. So let's look at maybe the schedule, the next couple of games, and we can read the tea leaves and figure out whether the Toronto Raptors are going to continue to lose. And then maybe we can readjust our expectations here. So coming up, I'll just switch over here to the basketball reference page and take a look. So coming up next, Houston Rockets. And I want to talk about that game. That game is going to be playing tomorrow at 6:30, so a bit of a matinee game. They don't really have a point guard. So Fred VanVleet is out. Amen Thompson's kind of running the point for them. They have Reed Shepherd, who is kind of stinking it up. He doesn't look like the type of player that a lot of people predicted coming out of college. So I am cautiously optimistic about that one. They are a really good team. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think Şengün is having a fantastic season. He's like looking like an all-star. Kevin Durant is doing Kevin Durant things. Amen Thompson is a special player. Jabari Smith Jr. is like, he's coming into his own. They've got a lot of, and Steven Adams, like every time you forget about Steven Adams, he reminds you when you play against him, because he just is on the boards.
And I think we're going to feel it
if Pirtle's out,
on
especially
Wednesday, because Pirtle's out, right? So, I mean, like, I'm maybe less optimistic than you are about the Houston game because of that size issue. Like, that starting lineup that they have with Amen in it, like, the average height is 6'10" or something, which is, without Yak, that's taller than every player on our team. So, yeah, like, they're not going to have a traditional point guard, but Emmanuel Quickley will be guarded by Amen Thompson. So if Emmanuel Quickley does kind of this hero ball stuff that he's been doing a little bit, we might lose a lot of possessions just based off of that matchup.
Yeah, that is a good point. It is at home, so that helps a little bit.
Yep.
Another thing is that their defensive scheme. So a normal defensive scheme would have me a little less optimistic, just because, if they can get the ball to Durant and Şengün in their spots, they're going to be able to score pretty much all night long.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking and hoping is that they will be able to turn them over and maybe make them.
Pressure Amen's handle and stuff, like, really early in the clock.
That's right. And if they can't get it across, or maybe they have to like waste a ton of time getting into their set, like doing a full court press, really putting a lot of pressure on the ball, maybe they'll be able to sort of force them late in the clock or turn them over and maybe keep the ball out of the hands of their better players. But that would require them to actually execute the defensive scheme, which maybe is wishful thinking. Then come the Cavs in their house, and I'm not expecting them to win that one. They have a lot of size as well.
Yeah. Still no Garland, so we're still have a bit of a point guard disadvantage of a team, but they still Donovan Mitchell and Lonzo Ball is more than capable, right? So yeah, not high hopes for that one, but always a fun matchup.
Donovan Mitchell isn't like a playmaker, like he's not a natural point guard, but he can bring the ball up the court.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna rip him like you would with some other players. The Memphis Grizzlies at home, I think they have a solid chance of winning that one. Milwaukee Bucks, I want to say that they could win that one, but we were underrating the Bucks. It seems like, because
and then Cole Anthony came around.
Oh my God, there needs to be some redemption from Emmanuel Quickley against Cole Anthony, because that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
and then
D'Lo the next night he gets got. It's rough.
Yeah, that was really bad. Then the Hawks on the road. The Raptors have already beaten them on the road, but I don't know if you can expect to win that. Then the Sixers. And that's game 10. So I see maybe 2 wins there, which would bring the Raptors to,
3-7.
3-7, right?
Yeah.
Are we really going to get that bent out of shape if they go 3-7? If they go 2-8, or they lose every game, I'll feel pretty bad, to be honest. I think, won't.
Yeah, I think it depends how they get 3-7 because
That's a good point.
if those other losses, if those whatever four other losses in there are more like the Milwaukee game where it's you're trading back and forth, some of the defensive principles are there, some of the process is better, but if they're all unwatchable like that Spurs game where you're literally just like looking at it like this is such a mess, none of this works, then people will be panicking. If you get
Yeah.
yeah, if you get that many like and then if the wins come against an opponent that isn't so good, like you won't get a lot of faith in people from that. So I really think it matters how they get there if they do end up 3-7, or even like they could go 1-9 and have decent process in games, and I won't be as worried as if, if it just looked like an absolute shit show the
Dumpster
whole time.
fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. And this is a good segue here because I've got some clips from last night's game against the Spurs, some defensive lowlights, if you will. So why don't we jump into that? The first clip here is just an embarrassing play. This is so embarrassing because it's needless. So this is a post, like a high post feed, and RJ Barrett comes from behind to try and strip the ball, but like they can see it coming. Like it's not like, I guess he can't quite see it coming, but it leaves Champagny open for an easy dunk.
Yeah.
And Purtle is too slow. Like he can't get there. He doesn't have any lift. He can't block the shot. That is so embarrassing.
This was a play I watched back because I was like, how was Champagny that open? And I had to wind it back and I said, oh my God.
RJ with a very questionable play. This one was like, okay, this was another play where they overhelped. This one's a little more understandable because on the last play, it was not Victor Wembanyama. On this play, it is Victor Wembanyama. And they're trying to obviously pressure his dribble out in the open court. So Emmanuel Quickley runs up to Wembanyama, and then they bring over another helper in Scotty Barnes. And Purtle, Scotty Barnes, and Emmanuel Quickley just like Wembanyama passes it over the top, and guess who? Julian Champagny open for another layup. It's like, that is just way too aggressive. This one was crazy. So they're driving from the perimeter. It's Dylan Harper, and he drives. They peel two off of the corner. Both off of the corner. They peel off of the strong side and the weak side and get into the paint. There's literally 5 people in the paint on this play. It's obviously Shed gets beaten here. Not Shed, sorry. Jacoby Walter gets beaten, and they bring 5 to the ball, and it's a wide open shot for Champagny. Unbelievable. This one was crazy. This is another one of those like what the hell are they doing things where Scotty is like trying to provide help, but he's providing help like behind Wemby. So it doesn't make any sense. He's way out of position. He's not guarding anybody. Like he's not guarding anyone. And then he has to close out to the perimeter. Wemby passes it back out. It's really honestly decent defense by Purtle. And then Castle. oh my God. So Scotty is like out of the play here. He's chasing, and Quickley comes over to provide help on the wide open drive. So this is actually a good defensive play by Quickley. Like, yes, he is peeling off of his man into the paint, but it is a wide open drive. That is a better outcome. Yes, Purtle is in the paint, but he has this is understandable by Quickley. And Scotty goes, no, go get back out. He points back out, Quickley runs away from the play. And then Purtle, who is like hobbled, just like complete ghost at the rim, no lift. And it's an easy score. So what I'm seeing here is 2 things. Number one, they're not communicating. They're winging it, and they're being too aggressive.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're asking a lot of like, average to maybe below average defenders like RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley and Brandon Ingram. Those guys are. I have been impressed with Brandon Ingram's help defense when he's off ball, but his on ball defense isn't very good.
Hmm.
So you have him playing out on people. Same with Purtle. Like against the Mavericks, they were playing him at the level of the screen coming out, and he is
Yeah.
like hobbled.
Yeah.
The guy can't move. And he's already 7 foot, a 7 foot center with like his foot speed's good when he's for a 7 footer when he's healthy.
Yeah.
But what the Mavericks were doing was just getting Pirtle in isolation against a perimeter player over and over and over again. There's just like they have to pick their spots better when they're playing defense. It seems like they're just being too aggressive all of the time.
Yeah.
And that just is asking them to, the other team to just make a pass. And one pass will beat you.
Yeah, there's no organization to the chaos if they're trying to be this blitzing chaos defense. Like you need to be the ones in control of that. Instead, you're just sending everybody out there and everyone, like nobody's cohesive. It's not a one mind thing. Everybody's just reacting. And I thought the whole point was to cause the reaction out of the other team.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're the one chasing and on the back foot and late on all these switches. Like it's the exact opposite point of the scheme. So now you're just tired for no reason. You didn't force the issue with them at all.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe a first 2 games of preseason where everybody's getting adjusted and everybody's getting used to the scheme. Like I really was hoping that they would be a bit more ready to hit the ground running when the season started.
Yeah, and one thing I think we should point out is it is the fourth game, or that was the fourth game of the season, and yeah, it was ugly, especially in the first quarter. The defense looked a lot better in like the second half. A lot of that was because Pirtle had to leave the game because he was injured, and they played CMB more, and he
Got
was
some mobile
obviously
minutes at the end.
right.
Who's going to try hard, right? Like, yeah, it got a bit better. It's very obvious that they can't play this style with a encumbered Yak because he can't keep up with it. It's not fair, right?
Yeah, and I was also thinking like, can't they mix it up? Like, does it have to be that they are aggressive all of the time, or can they like, I get that it's a system and you want to drill players and build those habits, but like there's got to be a time when you can at least have like play a normal, maybe let Yak drop, like let him play drop defense some of the time.
Yeah, which I guess brings me to like probably my main concern about Darko is how willing is he to make changes on the fly, and what would he look like in a playoff situation where you have to make these big scheme changes and lineup changes and everything. He hasn't really made a starting lineup change that wasn't forced by an injury his entire time here, right? Like he doesn't seem to make big changes with stuff, and I haven't seen him make big changes like as you're saying, mix it up. To
that point, sorry to interrupt, but to that point, one of the biggest things that I noticed, remember how long he stuck with Malachi Flynn?
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
The guy was like trotting out him and Precious Achua. I remember seeing their like per minute, like when they played together, it was like negative like a million or something. Like it was just like a clear as day. And you'd have to have no eyes to know that those two should not be on the floor together, if at all. But he just kept going to it over and over and over again, like trying to will it into existence.
Yeah. Which
maybe that changes, but I don't know.
Maybe, but I mean, if you want to go over it now, kind of my concerns with the rotations and stuff that he's made over these last couple games and how I think it's doing more harm than good, essentially.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like, there's a lot of different lineup data, and it's going to be very loud as you try things out and as like players are in and out of lineup. If Yak's hurt, you have to start making these subs, right? So lineup data can be loud, but the ideal starting lineup, our typical starting five, have a 105 offensive rating in 52 minutes together, but it's by far the most on the team by like 5 times. A 125 defensive rating for a grand total of a -20 net rating.
It
So
matches the eye test. Yeah.
so far the starting lineup not working,
No.
right? Um, you get your next best lineup has Mamu in it, but they only played 9 minutes together. But it's Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Scotty Barnes, and Mamu, and they have some elite defensive rating of 73, so their net rating is like 50. So if
I've liked that. I listen, like,
Yeah.
obviously small sample size theater, like
Yeah.
they're not holding people to 73 points per 100 possessions, but I think that's an interesting lineup.
Yeah.
And in the video that I made today, I talked about how in Yakoob Purle's absence, I mean, I also saw you tweet about it, that playing CMB as a center, maybe not in the starting lineup, but just like have him come on and play center. I think it can work between the three of Sandro, CMB, and Scotty, where none of them are real centers, but they will, like, if you play enough minutes with those guys on the floor, maybe not all at the same time, maybe 2 of the 3 and just rotate through them, they'll give you some center stuff.
Yeah.
Mamu is a good rebounder, and he's physically large. CMB and Scotty are both very good help defenders, and they provide rim deterrence. I think that it could work, and I think it'll look better than a hobbled Purtle. Obviously, I would love to get her Purtle back, but you know, he's not. It's going to take time, probably.
Yeah, and I think if next game, if they do start that lineup, because I wouldn't be too surprised, like if they started that secondary minutes lineup where you're just swapping Mamu for Purtle. If that doesn't work against Houston necessarily, I'm not going to be stunned, and I'm not going to take that much away from it because they have a front court that's like 6'11", 6'11", and 7 foot tall, right? So that's going to be a lot to handle for any of these mixed, forward centers that we're trying to kind of trot out.
Right.
So if it doesn't work against Houston, doesn't mean you shouldn't try it again, because you're really throwing it into the fire against the biggest team in the league, essentially, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, Steven Adams is a load on the inside. Yeah. So is Şengün.
Yeah.
And those guys are going to bully the crap out of you if you don't have a real center. I'm just, you're absolutely right. We can get into, like, we've already sort of talked about Houston a little bit, but yeah, I'm not going to judge too harshly based on that game for sure. Why don't we take a look at Basketball Reference and take a look at the team stats, because we have been kind of talking about the team and like what we're seeing from them. Let's just take a look at the team and opponent stats here. And so there is one thing that I will note, is the opponent turnovers. This is one of the things that is actually a point in favor of the system. So they are turning teams over a lot. They are third in the league in opponent turnovers per game at 18.3. Unfortunately, they are 28th in opponent 2-point percentage. So they are giving up 61.6% 2-point percentage. So obviously what you're getting in one area, the turnovers, you are more than making up for on the negative side with how efficient other teams are. So what I'm seeing, like if I'm reading these stats and kind of like translating them to the real world, is that they're overhelping. The other team is making a couple of passes, and sometimes those passes go out of bounds. Sometimes they get the ball off of those passes, but the other times that they don't get to them, it's like a wide open dunk or a layup.
Yeah.
Obviously 4 games is not the most, but like, to go along with the turnovers, there is a really good stat. The Toronto Raptors lead the league in field goals made at 48.3 per game. And that's not surprising for one big reason. Well, 2 reasons. First of all, they are turning other teams over a lot, so they're getting those extra possessions, and they're able to run out and score efficiently. The other is that they don't attempt any threes. They are 28th in 3-point attempts, and just based on the fact that 2-point shots go in more often, you're going to have more field goals. With that said, they are shooting on the season 51, almost 52% from the field. And they are scoring a lot of points. They're 3rd in the league in points. So there are a couple of positives. I do like the pace that they're playing with. Yep. I'm just hoping that to go along with the turnovers that they're creating, they are also not being so undisciplined that the other team can make 2 passes and get an open shot. Or even like against the Spurs, the worst thing about it was 1 pass.
Yeah.
It wasn't 2 passes, it was 1 pass, and they were getting a wide open shot. Anyway, I kind of want to look at the stats there, because there were a couple of takeaways from the team stats.
There was another one. It's not on this page, but Raptors are, I think, tied for 7th in transition defense. I think in like points scored in transition, like opponents' points scored in transitions, or whatever. So that means that they're getting the job done in transition. So they're obviously able to keep pace with players and cause disruptions and stuff in those transitional moments. So that's a bonus. There are some parts of it that are working.
Yeah. I think that, like, broad strokes, you look and like from this higher level view, like these team stats, even though it's only 4 games, you can see patterns starting to emerge. In any case, let's get to the next point that we're going to talk about. I know that you wanted to talk about Emmanuel Quickley and kind of what you were seeing from him. And maybe we can do kind of a bit of a debate, if you will. I'll take the pro Quickley side, which is, a bit of a devil's advocate position. He has played not very well, and you can take the easier position. Why don't you go first and say what you're seeing from Quickley, maybe in a negative way?
Yeah, so Quickley has been on ball too much. He is not making great decisions when he's on ball, and I understand the complexities in that to live up to your contract, you have to score a lot, you have to get a lot of assists, you have to be on ball. But right now it's looking like for the team to succeed, he needs to be less on ball. I think, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think for all 4 games, he had more touches than Ingram, and significantly in several games. That's not really what I want to see from the offense. And you start to wonder, is this coached, or is this him trying to play hero ball at times? What I've really not liked is when he does the same kind of drive to the right. He feels comfortable putting up that shot, but it's like a 20% shot for him right now. He's falling away. He's getting a foul maybe 5 to 10% of the time. For the most part, he's just touching off the glass to nothing, and it leads to very easy transition the other way. So, like, I don't love his decision on drives, which was my concern coming into the season. And then he's not hitting his threes, which is like what you're paying him for. He's 18% on the season. I expect that to change. I expect it to get better, but I don't know what's even going wrong with his shot right now.
Okay, so I'll take the pro position. This is a little bit more difficult, but there are some stats to back up him being a good player who is right now struggling with his shot. So just to counter the point about his efficiency on 2-point shots, he's actually shooting almost 60% from 2-point range on 6.8 attempts per game, which is pretty good. A lot of those are layups, And I know that his floater last season wasn't very good, and he's still going with it. So I don't know. It doesn't seem to be hurting his percentages in terms of his 2-point percentages. And another thing to note is that he is averaging 7 assists through 4 games with only 1.5 turnovers. And while obviously, like what you're saying, like he's touching the ball quite a bit and maybe freezing other players out, like RJ, I remember he kind of had it going in the Mavericks game and in the first half, and then quickly kind of took over in the second half and was dominating the ball so much. So I kind of see what you're saying. But last season, he was one of the best offensive players for the Toronto Raptors in terms of like the advanced statistics and like watching the game. I thought that he actually played quite well. He was one of the most consistent players in terms of using screens. Like him and Yakoob Purle had a lot of synergy in the screen and roll. Obviously, with Yakoob Purle being injured, and I don't know if he's going to play on Wednesday. I haven't seen an injury report. It might require a little less Quickley just because he needs those screens a lot of the time. So maybe we will see him take a back seat there. But in terms of what I think is coloring people's perspectives on Emmanuel Quickley is the fact that he is taking a lot of threes and missing so many, because shooting, like he's literally shooting 20% worse on 3-point attempts. And I think that that's making people think that he sucks and is not a good point guard. What my challenge is that I think you agree with this. His shot will recover. Maybe it won't go all the way back up to his career averages of like 37.5%. But if once he starts getting back in that range, like the high 30s, 40% range, if he's back at that range and you still have concerns about his, decision-making on ball, like you think he's taking too many shots, then I think it's like that will be a fair criticism. But I think at the moment, it's kind of unfair to be saying that he is dominating the ball a lot because he is missing so many shots. Like if he was shooting 40% from 3, I think a lot of these games, the Raptors, number one, I think they would have beaten the Bucks.
Yeah.
He shot so poorly, like 1 of 7.
Yeah.
And they lost basically going away because nobody could make a shot in the fourth quarter. If he's on his game and actually making shots, I think they win that game. Now we're talking about a 2-2 team, and, maybe some of the fears about him as a player aren't as bad. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think point well made. Because obviously if he's not hitting his shots, to expect him to stop driving and try to take more shots, like I want his role to be more off ball and to be very high volume. Because as you said, Raptors were 28th in 3 points. Like nobody is getting them up. It has to be him.
Yeah.
And I don't really want it to be Shed. The 3 best 3-point shooters on the team right now are Jamison Battle, Colin Murray-Boyles, and Scotty Barnes, who are all shooting above 55%. Obviously, that's not going to hold for 2 of them, and Jamison's will go down as well, right? So those numbers aren't looking good. And I want Quickley to be a part of that. And I think when he's hitting his shots, he'll probably start to take more shots. My whole thing on what would be a successful Quickley season was that he takes more threes than he takes drives. And it's not because he doesn't always score on his drives, but I think it messes up the offense because you're taking the one guy who's spacing and now he's punching in through the gut, and then all of a sudden Scotty doesn't know where to go. Ingram is trying to clear out, and it makes it all look more jumbled. And I also will say this, I think it's a similar for a lot of people, is that there's a lot of confirmation bias in against what Quickley's going to do, right? Because I think this is partially why a lot of people turned very sour on Fred VanVleet. Was because you saw him dribbling and you said, in your mind, you're like, you're going to take 3 more dribbles and you're going to take a 36-foot shot and miss. And then he'd do it, right? So then you're like, yeah, you suck, you're an idiot. So I recognize that I'm watching this and watching as picks are being set, whatever, and then I see Quickley start to dribble. I'm like, he's going to drive to the right and do that little fall away thing again. And then he does. And then I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so repetitive. So I realize that I'm probably being a bit unfair in that,
Yeah.
that I'm setting a previous expectation, right? But I
Yeah,
think,
and I think that like to use that point, I think Fred VanVleet is a really good example. One of my
mhm,
biggest problems with Fred VanVleet was that when he was shooting really badly, he would shoot you out of games.
yeah,
And that's not his fault. Like he can't really score inside,
yeah,
and his value add on offense was just banging threes, right? That's
yeah,
kind of his thing. But when he was injured in that last season, he was just taking and missing so many shots. I was like, please, for the love of God, try something else.
yeah,
And with Quickley, he is trying something else. Like he is
mhm,
taking fewer threes
yeah,
and going inside more. So I get what you're saying. Like, I really understand what you're saying. Like, it's a point very well made that like his role is supposed to be to be the guy, the outlet who
yeah,
shoots the ball.
yeah,
But because his shot sucks right now, he's like, how else can I contribute?
hmm,
Time to drive into the paint and score.
yeah.
So like he is trying to contribute, but I understand your point that it is kind of messing up the offense.
And I do also think part of it is that we have an expected hierarchy based off of maybe what Bobby said, maybe like what we expect. But I don't think that Darko is putting in that same hierarchy to the players because he's so like egalitarian, right? So it's like any one of the players dribble down and it's the clutch moment and it's not, oh, I better get it to Ingram. It's like, no, I've got a lane, I've got a shot, I'm talented, right? Like obviously everybody's going to believe in themselves, but I think people hold the hierarchy thing against IQ being like, what are you doing? You're not the star. You're not whatever. Give up, get off the ball. And maybe that's just kind of a coaching decision of how every player is viewed as like equal in the hierarchy, it seems, right?
That is a good philosophy. Well, not philosophy, hypothesis.
Yeah.
I can't argue against that. That sounds like something that Darko would do. Obviously, we're kind of reading the tea leaves here. We can't quite exactly get into the mind of Darko, but I do like that explanation. In any case, I think that we've kind of run to the end here with Quickley. I think we're on similar pages, maybe not the
Mhm.
exact same page, but maybe we can talk about the other guy in the starting lineup who, has not been right, which is Purtle.
Yeah.
So Yakoob Purle, I mean, this can be a brief section. The guy is obviously injured. Last season, Yakoob Purle was consistently, when I was ranking the Raptors starting lineups, he would come in second almost every single game. And the person who came in first was a different person every time. A lot of the time, Scotty, some of the time, RJ, some of the time, Quickley, some of the time, somebody else. But Purtle was always like second because he was just so consistent. This season, the guy is hurt.
Mhm.
And I get it. Like, there's so much frustration with Raptors fans. Like, we just signed this guy to a huge contract. He's 30. Like, this is the year that it's supposed to be a go for him, where
Yeah.
he's going to help the Raptors make the playoffs. And he's kind of doing the opposite, not through no fault of his own. Like, the guy is trying to play through an injury, which
Yeah.
should be commended. Like, the
Yeah.
guy has, like, obviously a lot of fight in him. He wants to play. But right now, he looks effing terrible. He has
Yeah.
been worse than Quickley. I
Yeah.
thought it was Quickley, like, oh, maybe Quickley because he shot them out of games and like wasn't like getting cooked on defense and stuff.
Yeah.
Purtle is he left yesterday and I was like, thank God he
Yeah.
is gone.
I saw a graphic that he was like bottom five in impact of all players in the league or something. And I was like, that's not Pirtle. Like
No.
he didn't regress this much. It's obviously the injury, but where does that leave us? If the option is play an injured Yak or go without him, I guess we're gonna see what it's like without him, right? And I think there's a lot of fear of that was basically the easiest card to pull for a tank was just sit
Yes.
Yak and you'll
So,
lose
yeah.
games.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to win games, it's like
Yeah.
you
Hair
can't
on
do that.
fire moment.
Yeah.
I'm hoping like the diagnosis. I'm not a doctor. I have no clue what the time frame for any of these things are, but like they're saying it's like back stiffness. And in my mind, I'm just like, it doesn't seem that serious. Like, I'm sure it kills. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's really painful and he's like having trouble moving around.
They're probably giving him some kind of like Toradol or whatever, whatever one's legal. They're probably giving him that like before games just to make it bearable, right?
Yeah. But I'm hoping that if he gets some downtime,
Hmm.
that this is something that can be put in the rearview mirror pretty quickly. Like if it's like a 2 week turnaround, I think the Raptors could be okay. If it's, half a season, then we're talking some big problems. Like the
Yeah.
Raptors could easily start to lose pace in the Eastern Conference just because A, he's their only 7-footer, and B, he was one of the best players on the team last season
Hmm.
and was driving, like, literally one of the only players who was winning his minutes last season. And now he is not. And there are a lot of players that like using his screens. Like, that was sort of the whole idea. Like Brandon Ingram even said,
Yeah.
why did you come to Toronto? Well, Purtle is here and
Yeah.
he's a great screen partner. So like, and Quickly is so good with him. And
Hmm.
yeah, Ingram, it's just like, could the Raptors get any less lucky? It's just so
Yeah.
frustrating.
I mean, yeah, like so many things are going so wrong so quickly. And then the thing that we need so badly to not go wrong, it's like it's thankful that it's not a major injury. But
Yeah. A lingering injury that has just kind of sapped all life. Like, he looks
yeah,
like a shadow of his
yeah,
former self. He's just kind of trudging around the floor
yeah.
like he has cement in his shoes.
And just fouling everybody because he can't
He's too
jump
slow.
with them. He
Yeah.
can't, establish position. It's yeah.
Really unfortunate.
Hmm.
There was one other thing. So we're kind of nearing the end here, but Steve sent me a cool link. And this is something that we can talk about here. The increased pickup points around the league. So he sent me this very cool tweet here from the All NBA podcast. A trend to keep an eye on. The average pickup distance is up 3 feet from last season. So this is where teams are starting to engage the opposing ball handler when they come up the court. So we'll just zoom in here. So Boston and Phoenix have had the greatest increases in average pickup distance. But if you want to I don't know if I can zoom in here. Yeah, I can zoom in a little bit. Oh no, it's just resizing it. Okay, that's pathetic. But you can see this little red and black dot here with an arrow. That is the Toronto Raptors, and they're picking up before half court. And they are the team that is the one of the most aggressive at picking up players when they are coming up the court. And that's not a surprise. Like, we kind of knew that they wanted to pick up players full court. And this is just an example of that. So thank you for sending that. And but
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
the thing we mentioned before the podcast when we were talking about this was that this is a copycat league. Like, so if you see another team doing something and it's successful, you're like, we got to do that.
Mhm.
So who won the championship last season? The Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder, one of the most aggressive defensive teams in the league. Every team is like, oh, okay, so we got to do something similar if we want to be like them. And cue the, this statistic here. 2/3 of the league increased its average pickup distance through the first 3 or 4 games. Oh my God. Yawn. Excuse me.
And cue the Raptors getting into foul trouble like crazy too, because the OKC fouls a lot but doesn't get called a lot because they've established that they're this physical force, and like the way Dort gets to defend people.
Dort and what's his name? Alex Caruso.
Yeah, exactly. The way they can get hands, like it's crazy compared to what we've been witnessing because none of these losses have been on the refs,
Yeah.
but you could say several, like the Mavericks reffing, a lot of it was terrible. A lot of it was like, you can't touch the guy. What is going on? And it's like the Raptors are trying to convince the refs and the league that their new identity is real and they're going to be this physical team. So you can't just foul them out every game and eventually the refs catch up and you start getting less fouls. It's a
Yeah.
growing pain, we'll see if the Raptors get the same kind of grace that other teams who do this get, right?
Yeah, I think they were like, just looking at that statistic, they were like 28th in the league in opponent free throw attempts,
Yeah.
which is, I get it. They're a younger team that is playing aggressively. They're going to get called for fouls. It's not necessarily the volume. Well, some of it is the volume, but a lot of it is just like when you're watching the game and they're calling it on one end and they're not calling it on the other end. And if that happens over and over and over again, which it does because the Raptors are so aggressive and they're constantly doing things like that, then it gets frustrating and you start getting upset with the refs. But as you said, like I get mad at the refs just for fun. Like it's not because the Raptors are losing or winning. I can get mad at the refs even if the Raptors are winning. I understand that the Raptors are losing games because they're losing games. It's not the refs' fault.
Yeah.
But when you see the sort of blatant like difference between the whistle the Raptors are getting and the whistle the other team is getting, that's when it pisses me off. Like I hate that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, this is, soapbox here. Good way to end the episode because I think we're going to call it right there with that last little tidbit that Steve sent over. I am enjoying watching the Raptors. I'm glad that it's the regular season. I'm glad we're back into the swing of it. And I hope that my episode today on the show, like the other show that we do, not the podcast, was talking about how things are bad right now, but I think things are going to get better. And I want to send that positivity out to the viewers who are watching right now, is that the schedule is hard. The Toronto Raptors are learning on the fly, and I want you guys to be patient and at least wait until like a quarter of the season is done before you start like saying like this team is cooked. We got to make a trade. We got to change the system. We've got to change the starting line. We got to do all of that. I think right now, although the losses are mounting, those were expected losses. Like we were talking about that. So keep the faith. Don't give up yet. Never surrender. And keep watching this podcast. Steve, thanks for
Julian,
joining me.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.